Well, hello everybody. Welcome to a video that I have been putting off for a very long time because I find it a bit ostentatious and a little bit of conspicuous consumption-y. But yeah, we're going to do it anyways. This is a walkthrough of my big rack. The rack where I do a lot of my demos and compositions that you'll see on this channel. I've had people ask me for a full whack. A full whack? People keep on asking me for a full whack, and I've only been giving them a half whack. So today, let's do a full walkthrough of what is currently in this rack, how I think about planning a rack like this, and I guess some of my favorite modules that are in here. All right? I guess we should probably turn the rack on first, huh? This rack is made by a company called Too Many Synths. Wonderful company to work with. They and me had some back and forth about what I was looking for, and they built this beautiful rack. And the power is by a company called Constant Lab. So very, very high-end power in this, 2 zones, each side, filtered, non-filtered. It's just really, really good power if you are looking for custom power for a case, or if you're looking for like, what kind of power should I look for in a case? The Constant Lab stuff is really good. So shout out to Too Many Synths and shout out to Constant Lab. Let's get into the oscillator section, the voice section up at the top. Starting from the left, we have the Raw Yaw Media Dizygote. That's a really, really fun oscillator I have done a video on. It kind of has a chiptune vibe, really, really cool. I love my physical modeling, so we have a qubit surface to the left of that. Super, super useful voice. One of the things I really love about it is that while you can go through all of the like tonal models that it has, like strings and electric pianos and stuff, crank it over to the right, you start getting into like noisy and stochastic sounds. And in a live performance, it's really, really fantastic to be able to go from a melody to a drum line or like a hi-hat or a noise line with that. So if you're looking for a diverse use voice for live performance, the qubit surface is great. The Bastel Pizza is next to that, a very sort of useful FM-based oscillator. It's fine. Like I'll use it for a lot of basic tones, especially when I'm trying to pair it with other things like the Zephyr for basic tones. And I maybe need a little bit of, what's the right word for this? Like timbre derivation, but nothing too crazy. The Osiris next to that is a wavetable oscillator. It's from Modbap. I still absolutely love it. Wavetables, especially this one, really, really amazing and useful for wide varieties of color. There's a lot of really fantastic tools on the Osiris to push the sound in different directions, like the timbre modes and the fidelity. I personally think that this is a fantastic oscillator, has a built-in VCA. It's great. To the right of that is the Instro Cruin. It's ostensibly a supersaw oscillator. Really, really great for deep respaces. One thing I have not tried with it yet is to make a more complex respace with like a notch, low pass and bandpass filter. However, this can do the really deep detuned low pass respace really well. Has a built-in VCA as well. I'm not using the expander for it because I don't need individual control over the swarm, but yeah, great sounding oscillator, really fantastic. To the right of that is the Piston Honda Mark III dual wavetable oscillator. I have a love-hate relationship with this thing, as I do with all IME gear. I think there's a lot of amazing ingenuity in the IME stuff, but there's a bit of like menu divey that I just can't get over. The Piston Honda I keep around for sentimental reasons, but also because it's very powerful. It was part of the first set of modules that I got when I first got into modular, along with plates and a couple other things that are in here. So it's very, very important to me in that respect. I don't think I can sell it just because it was part of my modular journey from the very beginning, and that's very important to me. To the right of that, we have elements, rings, plates, and braids. I actually had these broken out in their own case because I was like, what's a full mutable case like? You know, it was okay. It wasn't really anything that special. But these 4 are 4 of my favorite voices. I use them all the time. Probably in order of use, it's rings, plates, elements, and braids. Elements is obviously a very big one. It's a modal synthesizer that can do like 3 flavors of synthesis based on an incoming exciter, bow, blow, and stripe mallets. It's very, very diverse. It has its own built-in reverb. It's a really fantastic module. Obviously a very big one, but I really like the original Mutable Instruments designs, and I don't really like how cramped they can get when you make them small. To the right of that, rings, an absolute classic, continues to be a classic to this day. I'm running something called Rings Live firmware on it, where instead of having to do any kind of crazy stuff to get to the other modes, including the disaster piece Easter egg mode with the chords. You just hold down this button for 5 seconds and you'll move through the alternate modes. Really, really great. It's called Rings Live firmware. If you Google that, you'll find it. I highly recommend it. Plates, absolute classic, especially with the third bank of voice stuff that Emily added right at the end. Just I don't know why anyone wouldn't want a plates. Like, still in 2025, it's the GOAT. To the right of that, we have braids. I am not running any custom firmware on that. I found it a little too fiddly, so it's a stock braids, very useful for a lot of different stuff. And to the right of that, we have the Cursus Iteratus Percedo. I am a complete noise engineering fanboy. I love what they do. I think almost everything that they've done is fantastic, especially their voices and effects. I have a lot of their stuff in here, as we'll see. Cursus is one that I don't give as much love as I need to. Part of that is because it's way over here on the right, so I need to spend some extra time with Cursus, but I've done a couple videos featuring Cursus that demonstrate just how wild it is. I think one of the reasons I don't use it quite as much is because at least one or two of the settings on here are stepped as opposed to smooth. This actually occurs with Osiris as well, in that I forget. And so I will send, like, for instance, the Osiris Y input, I'll send it like smooth modulation and it will like kind of flip out because it's not necessarily meant to deal with smooth modulation. Same thing over here. Some stuff deals well with stepped and some stuff deals well with cursed, Jesus Christ. And some stuff deals well with smooth. And it's got a very wide range of tones. One of the interesting things about noise engineering oscillators is that the knobs don't just go from like 0 to 100, they kind of like do things along the way. And so what you'll find is like complex interactions between different controls as you put them into different places. And I think that's really, really cool, but you also really have to dedicate some time to get to know how they work. To the left of that, a mysterious little thing called Siren. Siren is an oscillator, drone oscillator, ostensibly, that was created by someone in my area. They remain anonymous. They wish to remain anonymous. You really can only find them on like consignment or used, which is frankly frustrating for a lot of people, but that's how it goes. Stereo drone oscillator with chords. I have done multiple videos featuring it. I think, actually, wait, I did a whole video just featuring it recently. It sounds great. I keep it in because it's very unique, has like animation to it. Super cool. I wish it was more available, but it is what it is. Make Noise XPO, stalwart workhorse in that it can put out classic waveforms, but it can also do some really wonderful animation and stereo wavefolding and stuff like that. So it's a great little oscillator if you're looking for something that can do a bunch of different stuff before it even goes to a filter. And I do like that it's stereo. To the right of that, 4MS Ensemble oscillator. I fell in love with it the moment that I got it and has remained part of my kit ever since. I have small gripes here and there regarding how it like tunes and stuff like that, but overall, I think it is one of the most interesting oscillators, voices that has been put out for Modular. I think it might be in VCV at this point, but it's really cool. It's polyphonic in that it does chords in a way that like Siren does chords. It has twist and warp and cross FM to go from sine waves to really wild sounds. I love it, and I've done a lot of work with it and will continue to do. To the right of that, Laquelic Iteratus Percedo. You can see that I like the big versions of these things. They have a lot more modulation inputs, and they also have a built-in envelope that can be assigned to the individual, parameters. Like you can say, hey, I want this envelope to, internal envelope to adjust this sound a certain amount. I use Laquelic all the time. Not as much as the one next to it though, Manus. I think Manus Iteratus might be my favorite oscillator from them. It can go from a pretty rather mild, like low-pass filtered sound to this wild, ripping saw mod sound that I really, really love. It's one of my go-tos. It does not have a need for a VCA, has a trig, and just, no VCA, no envelope needed. It's really fantastic. To the right of that is Zephyr, an absolute workhorse in my rack. It's a analog oscillator with all the normal ones that you would expect to come out of it, saw, pulse, sine, and triangle. But then there's the Z-Wave output, which can do like folded and PWM stuff. It has a big chunky octave knob on it, which I really, really love. It's just, I use it all the time. It's stable as hell. It sounds fantastic. To the right of that is the Vert Iter Legio from Noise Engineering. I don't really use this one as much as I should. It sounds amazing in the Sync Legio firmware or the Vert Legio firmware. I think I don't use it as much because it's like stereo and doesn't have a VCA, but that's actually not a really good excuse considering I have the other one's over there. It might be because it's just small. Like, it sounds huge. Like, the chorus in it sounds huge. But the size of it kind of like makes me forget it's there. It's like the same size as the Oscillator Vero tuner next to it. And what's funny is I use the tuner all the time. That little Solio Vero tuner is great. It's a strobe tuner. It has 3 inputs you can switch between if you're looking for a compact tuner for your case. Recommended it. To the right of that, we have the Javelin from WMD. I think I actually have 2 of these, or I have one Javelin and one ADSR VCA from them, which is like the older version. It's a really, really useful VCA / envelope generator all in one. So ADSR envelope with a VCA, and the envelope you can take out and put to like a filter. So small case, big case, it's great if you just want to like not have to worry about patching 2 different things. Just patch a mono signal right into there, and it's fantastic. Shifty to the right of that, I don't use it much anymore. I should, but I have other ways to hawk it now and other ways to do what it does. I've done a video on it. I think it's really, really cool. It can do voice hawketing throughout your rack. I should probably give it another go and just do a patch around it. It's fun to use. Okay, so envelope generators. Rampage. It's a function generator from Bufaco. It's maths adjacent, basically. Slightly different than maths, but just as useful, and it's what I have. I had a maths, and I sold it. I actually have no fucking idea why. A lot of my selling and buying had to do with having smaller cases and not really having the room to like store stuff I wasn't using. I don't really have that problem right now, obviously, though I do have 2 spillover cases and 6 buckets of modules that are ready to go either into here or a smaller rack for demos and shows, or to eventually be sold as my retirement plan, because I ain't got no retirement plan otherwise. To the right of that, we have Quadrax, incredible workhorse. I guess it's technically a function generator. It has multiple modes. Right now it's in the rise fall mode, so a attack release envelope generator. Hit it one more time, it will go to rise sustain fall, which is incredibly useful if you don't want to deal with an ADSR. It will read the incoming gate and hold high. So you can do all kinds of stuff with that, like really, really tight funk leads to anything that requires a sustained gate on the sound, which is really great. And then we have other modes like LFOs, which I do use sometimes, burst modes and some other stuff. It's just a really, really useful utility to have in a case. To the right of that, 2 VCAs, the Hex VCA, which is just sort of how many VCAs do I need in a rack? Well, a lot. And if I need them, they're there. Quad VCA, I've had that forever. It's still very, very useful to me. It's a great VCA. IntelliGel just knew what they were doing with those 2 modules very, very well. To the right of that, we have Zadar and Quadigy. These are 2 envelope generators that kind of think of things very differently, but are both very, very useful. Zadar is it says it's an envelope generator, but like these are the shapes that it makes. Like, they're crazy. It's also interesting because it's proof, again, that anything that Richard Devine makes as a preset is probably going to be the most useless thing in the device. I don't know what it is. His presets are always cursed, and Zadar is no different in that. I like to use this really slow and looped for crazy like modulation around the rack, but it's a very super useful utility in general. I don't think I would get it as a normal envelope generator at all. You can, it will work for that, but I prefer sort of simpler ones that I can reach into and adjust like this for performance use, and Zadar is not that. To the right of that is Quadigy. This is a ADSR, probably one of the only ADSRs I'd recommend to anyone. It's very, very well thought out, very, very cool, and the envelope slopes and everything are very customizable. It's really, really fantastic in that respect. Different, logarithmic, or what do you call it, exponential curves for everything. It might seem a little daunting at first, but once you get your way around it and just get it set up how you want, it's fantastic. Also, there is a mode here where you can control all 4 envelopes at once, which means that if you're doing a performance and you want to bring the length of all of your things up or down, you can do that way, which is great. Tides. I mean, it's not really an envelope generator, but it fits right there. Tides, this is Mark II, is a Mutable Instruments modulation source. It also does, also like a lot of MI stuff, is a voice, which I have not tried yet. I like to use it for super slow sort of related modulation, and it's very, very good for that. It's just sitting there because that's a good place for it. I don't really have another place for it. I mean, I do, but I want it there. It'll get moved around for different patches. All right, cool. So that is voices and envelopes and VCAs. Let's move down to the third and fourth row now. So the idea with this rack is that things move down. It floats down. We have voices, which get plugged into sometimes VCAs and need envelopes. And then those go into filters, which then go into effects. So there's a flow downwards into eventually the mixing section, which is down here, which we'll get to. All right, starting from the very far left, that's where Nazis go to die. And God bless that area. It's a very important area these days. Kind of wish we had more areas like that, but we're working on it. Just give us some time, okay? So that is where a lot of my demos will happen. I know it looks boring, a lot of my videos, because that's all you see, that area right there, but honestly, it gives me the most flexibility for what I'm doing. I don't want to always create a little breakout case for everything that I'm doing. I want to access my full rack here and have the ability to do all kinds of cool stuff so I can show you the best, like, you know, case scenarios for these modules. So that's where a lot of that stuff happens. Data next to it, I've considered getting a second one. They're very, very useful. It is a basically an oscilloscope, tuner, spectrograph. If you've been in Modular for any length of time, you know about it, and you probably own one. We can start a little grab bag of shit before we get to the filters. I have the Vostok Asset there. That is a attenuverter system. So it takes signals that you put in and allows you to range them from 0 to their full amount. And the reason I have that there is because to the right of that, we have the OCHD classic module from DivKid and the RandStep, both of which do not have their own attenuation. And if you send those signals out to something that doesn't have attenuation, then you're going to be stuck with that full range of voltage that comes from them. So I like to have attenuation next to those two things, and just in the middle of the rack in general, so that as I'm passing signals back and forth through different sections, if I need to, I can pass it through some attenuation and have control over that. So attenuation, OCHD, RandStep, and then the Quad 10, which is a passive attenuator from WMD. Just really, really useful. I love the knob. It's very well laid out. For me, attenuation needs to be performative, and both of those do that if I need them to. Multimod, next to that, amazing module from Make Noise. Hard to describe, but basically it takes a signal and copies it, and you can do all kinds of things to it, like phasing and time shifting. I've done a big video on it. So if you search on my channel for Multimod here, you'll find it. Filters with one little baby that's not a filter. So we'll start with the little baby that's not a filter. That little dark one with the red LED, that is the iVCA from Avalon Harmonics, small builder that does some really great stuff. It's a stereo VCA, which is really, really useful for all the stereo oscillators that I have. So while I can take something like the 4MS Ensemble oscillator, take both outs, put them into like the hex VCA, and send one CV signal into the top of it and have it molt down. Obviously, it's a little bit easier if I just have like a single stereo VCA and then I take it out. So really great little VCA for all kinds of stuff. Winterbloom Neptune. This filter I have a video on. It's a very great sounding filter. Obviously pairs very well with the Winterbloom oscillator module. It is just really sweet and good sounding. The salt function can get really nasty. And I love the way it looks, so it stays in. Black and Blue Foxtrot Duo. I recently did a video on their Trio oscillator and included the Foxtrot Duo as the filter for that. It has 3 different filter types, and then a bandpass, low pass, and high pass version of those. It sounds really good. It's stereo, it's digital, but it's just like, it sounds good. That's all I can say. And that's all I really give a shit about with filters, is like, how do they sound? That one sounds really good. Freak Manifold filter. This is another digital filter with extreme attention to detail when it comes to modeling the filters. This is available in VCV-Rack now. Volt is very, very, focused on what they do, and they have written lots about modeling filters for this thing. Tons of different filter models, some distortion models, some comb filters, stuff like that. It's a really cool module if you can get your hands on one. I really like some of the filter models a lot. It's also stereo, but it can also run parallel and serial, I think. So that's cool. The Icaria twin filter from Bastel, colorful filter with a DJ style cutoff and an envelope follower built into it. It sounds great. I love the way it sounds, kind of gritty, kind of aggressive. I reach for it when I want things to kind of get a little wonky. 3 pairs of low pass gates after that. Steady state gate, amazing gate. Just sounds so fucking good. I love it to death. We'll recommend that to anybody looking for a single low-pass gate. Optimix, classic low-pass gate from Make Noise. I did a video on low-pass gates, which is why I have these. I wanted to hear what they sounded like next to each other. Of that video, my favorite one that I borrowed was the natural gate from whatever that company is that makes the natural gate. But it's really expensive, and I can't justify buying one when I have 3 or 4 in here already. Optimix is fine. No bells and whistles, just a good sounding low-pass gate. Sync Buccina next to that is the low-pass gate from Noise Engineering. It has something really interesting in that you can have an attack stage in it. So it'll go vroom, which is very rare for a low-pass gate, if not impossible in the normal low-pass gate circuitry. So they're doing some kind of magic there, and, God bless them. Polaris, this was probably one of the first filters I ever used. It is a workhorse from IntelliGel with a ton of different filter modes, including phasers. It just sounds good and does its thing. Nothing really crazy about it. It can drive. It does that kind of drive where I think it's like a resonant feedback as opposed to a resonant saturation as opposed to any kind of post filter distortion, which I wish it wasn't, but I got plenty of distortions around here to fuck with, so it's not the end of the world. I love the way it sounds. It's great. QPOS, a divisive, colorful filter from Make Noise. I love it. It's very liquidy and slurpy, very colorful. If you check out some videos that James did for the multi-mod on the Make Noise channel, you will hear just how colorful QPOS can be. The bandpass and SP have this really amazing character. You got all these stereo outs here, then you can pair them together. It's just a really cool filter with a lot of color. I would not get it as my only filter, but it sounds amazing, and I really, really love it. Every time I plug something into it, I'm like, ooh, I want to do more with it. It's a statement piece when you use it in a patch, I think. Okay, let's move on to effects. I personally believe that if you make a rack that doesn't have effects in it that cover the voices that you're trying to put in it, and I'll talk a little bit more about that before we go on, but I believe that if you don't have effects, you're not going to like what comes out of the rack. Effects are such a huge part of our experience when it comes to understanding how music sounds. Reverbs, delays, for the most part. So my philosophy around this is, I think that a patch, if you're trying to do electronic music, generally has a couple different parts to it. The drums don't necessarily need effects on your drums, but a simple sync to delay and reverb can sound great on drums, especially that sync delay. A lot of genres that I've worked with will fill in the extra space between drums with a bit of delay, and it's a really, really wonderful syncopated device to add depth to what you're doing. So delays and reverbs, which obviously create depth and space in the mix, I think are really, really necessary for a lot of different things. If you have a mixer that has sends on it, or the blue box over here, which has reverbs and delays built in, you're golden. But if you don't, do think about, your leads and your mid-ranges and your effects and, your drums with a little bit of delay. All those probably want some kind of effect to really feel deep and big. So a completely dry rack is possible, but I just don't think it'll sound as good as if you think about putting effects on things. Starting on the left over there, we have something I will recommend to anybody, and that is 4 of the Versio series from Noise Engineering. I have Ruina, Desmodus, Melodus, and Imitor, and all of them are running their stock firmware, though I have experimented with all of the other firmwares. I love Ruina as a colorful distortion. I love Desmodus as a weird reverb with a sidechain ability built into it. Melodus, I've done a whole video focusing on, and it's one of those things where I don't reach for it in my normal patching, but when I decide to focus on it and make it part of the patch, I love it to death. Imitor, I'll go back and forth between the Imitor and the Electus Versio on that one. Because it's a 12-tap delay, it can get a little weird with how to get it synced, but also if you just kind of let it do its thing, it can be great. So the reason I recommend these to anyone is, 1, I think these are some of the best sounding effects on the market, hands down. 2, all of them can be flashed with the firmware of any other Versio. Same thing with the Vert Legio we talked about earlier and their new Elias system. Any of those can be flashed with the firmware from their respective platforms. So you get a lot of value and you get the ability to experiment with a lot of different things, which I think is fantastic. To the right of that, we have the Dnipro Sine Vibes collab, the Radiant. I've done a video focusing on this. It is a multi-effects unit. I really like it. I actually rewatched that video the other day, my own video, and I forgot that there's a really cool glitchy repeat function in there, which I need to experiment with more. So that's a great module, multi-effects, space, reverb, delay, all kinds of stuff. I recommend it. It's cool. To the right of that, Data Bender. I love this fucking thing. There is nothing else like it except for maybe the hologram microcosm. Hey hologram, you listening? Listen to me. If you want to make a module that will sell like fucking crazy, make the hologram microcosm into a module. Do I need to email you and talk to you about this? Because Data Bender is halfway there. I'll use it all the time. It is an amazing way to add incredible texture to anything that you're doing. It's a timed sort of glitchy thing, does micro looping. I love it. It's so good. So good. I love it. Qubit knocked out of the park with that. But if there was a microcosm module, I'd probably buy 2 of them because it's like Data Bender plus the Radiant plus beads all put together in one thing. And I think it's fantastic. To right of that, Nebula Echo Cinematic. I have a lot of modules from Nebula because I've worked with them on a lot of different videos, and I like a lot of their stuff. Their individual synthesizer devices are really, really cool. And at some point I'll have a video on the other channel of me doing a little jam. It might be out by the time this comes out. I'm not 100% sure. And I'm mentioning it now, so I guess it'll have to be. Doing a little jam on one of their newer modules. And I think that they have a really interesting sensibility when it comes to what they do with their stuff. I like the colors, look like trans rights. I think that's cool as hell. This is their delay and reverb module. Again, delay and reverb, very important. Beads. I don't really know what to say about beads. I need to do a really focused video with beads because I think there's a lot of little edge cases there I'm missing out on. Right now, I mostly use it as a delay and reverb, which is obviously not what it's supposed to be used for. Magneto and Starlab, these are 2 amazing effects from Strymon. They better be amazing considering how much fucking space they take up. I have not found anything that sounds like them. Magneto is a really great sounding sort of tape delay and looper. Starlab is this shimmer machine. It's just both of them are fantastic. I love them. And I love that they are unapologetic about how large they are. They feel very good to use. As much as I appreciate, smaller Eurorack modules and the attempt to make things fit in smaller cases, sometimes you just want a big honking module. And aside from the Winterbloom one that's a button, you got these 2 right here. Name Me a Phone and Herbverb. We can talk about these next to each other. Herbverb was actually down on the left for a long time. I'm not really sure what to think of Herbverb. I almost think of selling it now and then, and I'm like, no, it's so weird. It's so unique. Until maybe they come out with a new version of it, it's staying in the rack. I don't really even know how to describe it. Over there with the Desmodus Versio, noise engineering calls that a synthetic tail generator instead of a reverb. Herbverb's even more than that. It's even more synthetic tail generator than reverb. It's very odd. I will do a video focusing on it. I don't know, something. It's hard to describe. It's a reverb, but it's not. Name Me a Phone. It's the legendary delay and halo generator from Make Noise. This is one I need to experiment with more now too. The zone function on this allows you to basically travel through time. It has a huge buffer inside, and you can travel back and forth through that buffer and get some amazing sort of time travel effects with your sound. So those are the effects. Am I missing anything that normally is in there? I feel like in this row, I'd normally have things like Starlab and Morphogene. Those are in a different rack right now. Yeah, those would be in this area as well, between this area and the area below it. So let's move down to the next area and talk about what's going on down there. Okay, so mostly this row is supposed to be, it's mostly drums. It's a little out of whack right now because of the video I did for the multigrain. And you can see, I moved it down here. This module is so good. The video should be out for it by now. Go check it out. I think it's fantastic. Sea Legs normally would be over here where Herbverb is. This is the delay / reverb from IntelliGel. Again, I love it to death. I would have 2 of them if I was ostentatious. Bitbox Micro, absolute fantastic module. It is a sampler and a sample playback module. stereo. It is 8 channels, but I don't normally use 8 because on the micro, to have like a clock input, you need to use one of the inputs. So a lot of the times it's between 4 and 6. I've used it for everything from vocals, stems, individual one-shots, drums, drum loops, everything. It's the peanut butter to the jelly of the quad drum here from QD, which I'll talk about in a second. The Bitbox, the quad drum, and the Trinity. Let's just talk about those now. Those are my drums. Those are how I do drums in the rack. In order of how often they get used, it used to be quad drum thing from VPME. This was number 1. I've had this forever, and I have not changed the samples on it for years now because I dialed in my kits, and now they are just like exactly what I want. Anyone's looking for a super high performance drum machine with a lot of color options because of the way that you can do samples on it, with a lot of great performance controls, I will recommend this to anyone. I think it's fantastic. To the right of that is the Modbap Trinity, a 3-channel drum synthesis module, which I leave plugged in. As you can see, it's already plugged in. I just use it a ton. It sounds great. It's simple to use, and aside from not turning on sometimes, it's wonderful. So I'll be honest, like a lot of my demos that I do for y'all, I just grab a kick drum from Trinity, and that's all I have going on in the patch besides whatever the focus is. And then in post, in Ableton, I will add everything else. It's just because like I want to show you what I want to show you and have you hear what I want you to have you hear. And then it's a lot easier for me to supplement that with cool shit in the DAW later. So Trinity gets used as a kick drum a lot. And then if I want to like obviously do a full patch, I will start involving Trinity, the QD, and the Bitbox for, drums, sample drums, and samples respectively. Sort of going a little out of order, the Winter Plankton Zaps is a really, really fun module. Fun story, I did a video on this for them where I did a bunch of demos. They wanted to, be a sponsored video, and I finished it up, and I kind of had a little fun with it where like I kind of talked a lot about electroshock play because it's called Zaps, and my stupid brain was like, haha, tens unit. So I did a lot of improvised singing about zapping my balls and like going to a club where people zap their balls. And I sent it to them, and they were like, we didn't want this. We wanted a normal video. And so I said, well, that really sucks. I don't want your money, and I guess we'll not work together again. So if you go and look for my Zaps video, hopefully you'll have fun with it, but they did not appreciate it at all. So that's kind of sucks, but I still really love the module. It's very, very powerful. Each one of these slots here can be a different drum voice, and you can save banks of drum voices and then travel through them while still performing. You can randomize banks. It's like if you had 12 DFAMs that you could switch between at a time. It's great. It's fantastic. If you can bring yourself to deal with the menu diviness of it, it's wonderful. To the left of that right now is the Incus Iteratus Alia. It is a percussion module from Noise Engineering. It's the only one of the Alias that I have, but I have gone through flashing the other ones to it, and I ended up coming back to that because like it's a unique sounding voice. I like some of the other Alias better, but just what I have on it right now. Outliers in this area are the Dresno and the Taurus. This is from Zayoc. This is the Dresno, and what it does, it translates back and forth between digital and analog signals. So one way that you can think of it is if you put a analog signal like a sine wave into the left-hand side here, into the ADC input, and then clock it, it's going to read the sine wave's input, and it's going to send gates out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 gates out as the sine wave moves up and down. So at its lowest, you might get 1 out of 0, and its highest, you'll get 1 out of each one. I think that's how it works, based on the clock. So it's a really interesting way to create clocks or rhythms based on incoming signals. And I just keep it around in case I want to get really weird with stuff. Because like, for instance, I can send modulation out of the Maestro here into it and create patterns that then get turned into gates, which I think is really cool. The Taurus over here, this is a quad looper, harmonic looper from Raya Media. And it's really cool because it's really easy to use. You clock it and then record into a channel, and then you can start messing around with that channel's speed and harmonically speed it up and down, meaning it will stay sort of within fifths or octaves. And I just love being able to do that with any kind of audio. It sounds really great. So you can use it as a texture device. You can use it as a just a strict looper if you want. But it's really cool. I like it. €1. So let me hit play real quick over here. So you'll notice when I hit play that LED started blinking over here and over here. So in order to talk about the 1U row in that respect, I'll need to talk about this area down here real quick. So make sure you can see that. I'm going to get back to these all in a second, but let me just explain the sequencer flow. On the bottom left there is the Hermod Plus. That is where I push play. Every rack needs a place where you push play. And for a lot of people, that's going to be Pamela's new workout. For me, it's over there. It's also my main sequencer. 90% of what you hear I do in this rack is sequenced with the Hermod Plus. XP32 next to that, we'll get to that in a bit. MIDI out right here goes back around the rack with an actual MIDI cable. And then it goes over to the right over here. So over here, I have Pamela's new workout. It's getting MIDI in. And this is not the new one, the Pro one. This is the new one, which is why you can barely see the screen. This is right here, the MIDI from ALM. It's getting the MIDI out from the Hermod Plus, and the ×24 clock signal is going into PAMs. That is clocking PAMs. If I stop the sequencer, you'll notice that stops. This is how it goes. Coming out of PAMs, very little happening with these things right here. We're actually mostly using here the expander with the ×4 PPQ out, the ×2, and the ×1. You see all these little cables coming out. What these are doing is they are molting these clock signals. ×4, ×2, and ×1 are the three clock signals I will use across the entire rack. So what I've done is I've taken those and I've either molted them to go to places, or I've put them into the rack plumber. I have two rack plumbers here from Plum Audio. So what these do is inside my rack here, these have a cable that goes to the 1U counterpart to the module over there. I have one on each side. You can see those blinking with what looks like some ×4, ×2, and ×1 signals. So those are my clocks, and I route them internally so I don't have to continually route them, with different cables across this entire thing. So maybe this is kind of like the fanciest part of what's going on with the rack. I really like these because you can see what's going on, and you can choose which clocks you want to then molt out again in the molts that are next to that. So with that said, now that you understand, it's Hermod Plus into the MIDI, into Pamela's new workout, into molts, and the rack plumbers into the 1Us. That's how we're distributing clock and getting our sequencing done across this rack. All right, let's talk about the 1U row. What do we got here? Well, we got our rack plumbers on either side, the ones that are purple. To the inside of those, we have molts, buffered molts from Afterlater Audio. Again, I like these because if you plug something in, you can see, what's going on here. And I find that very important. I don't know what the hell it's doing there. That's very odd. So I'll use that clock to power, for instance, the Constellation and some other stuff. Molts. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 sets of buffered molts in the 1U row, which allows me to take any signal from anywhere and molt it. I'll do it a lot with gate signals from the Hermod Plus in case I need to do multiple envelopes. It's just really, really useful to have molts. To the inside of those, I have some random things. I have a Turing machine, and I have a flip, which is a branches clone. It basically flips a coin every single time it gets a gate and decides to pass it between two outputs. It's a Bernoulli gate, I believe. And then inside of those, I have two ornament and crimes. That one is running the OG firmware. This one is running hemispheres. Both have their uses, and I like both of them, and I will use them when I need to. Probably don't get as much use as other things in this rack, but they are very, very useful to have around. So yeah, molts, clock, utilities, ornament and crimes, and some logic in the 1U rack here. Just, useful utilities. All right, the middle row. To the left over there, again, a bit of a wild card area. Right now, the Atlantics is in there. Amazing sounding full synth voice based on around the SH101 from IntelliGel. It sounds amazing. I was using it with the multigrain. That will switch out depending on what I'm trying to do. I had the Tobinsky sequencer in there for filming the other day. It all really depends on what it is I'm doing for a video. To the right of that is another module from Avalon Harmonics, an 8-channel bank of a 10U version and CV offset called the CV Mod 8. Again, incredibly useful to have performance, a 10U version in your rack. I love sliders. Give me sliders. Put sliders everywhere, and I'm a happy boy. To the right of that, div skip. At this point, I think this is a classic. I think anyone that has one knows how cool this is. It is a trigger processing module that can take an incoming clock or trigger set and do tons of shit to it. So, talked about Bernoulli gates earlier. It has a Bernoulli gate mode, Euclidean, drum pattern mode. It's like grids, branches, and Euclidean, and a bunch of other shit all stuck into one thing. little daunting, honestly. There's a lot of modes, you got to get to know them, but overall, incredibly useful module if you just want to get some interesting gates going. And I think the drum modes in this are amazing. If you haven't explored the drum modes in this, they're much more useful to me than grids is. I really like them. To the right of that, an incredibly useful module to anybody that has any rack. It is the Shifty from Slate and Ash, of all people. Very confusing. They make amazing software things for Contact, amazing software instruments, and I have a few of them, and I love them. Landforms, cycles, primary strings. They're beautiful. I fucking love them to death. And they have this module. And what it does is it takes an incoming signal on the left, and on the right side outputs a signal that is boosted to 10 volts. That's it. So Pamela's new workout, for instance, only puts out 5 volts. A lot of modulation sources only put out 5 volts. A lot of modulation destinations want 10 volts. So this is one of the great lies of Eurorack, that there's any standardization to how that shit works. Wherever you can find a place to get 10 volts out of 5 volts, you're going to have a better time pushing some filters and stuff like that around. And this just does it. That's all it does. And it's really, really useful. And obviously there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 channels on it. It's great. Super simple, but there you go. We got a little, what do you call it? A little Bufaco station right here. Noise Plethora is, as far as I'm concerned, I haven't tried the IntelliGel Flurry, but Noise Plethora is the noise source. If you need noise in your rack and you want it to be fancy, dual noise source with a ton of different options, it is fantastic. I have done a video on it. Percol, this is one of many like this. It's basically a pingable VCA / envelope generator. It's you can use it to make percussion out of anything, hence Percol. You put the ins in, you trigger it, and these are your decays. And I think one of the more interesting things you can use it for, My Alarm Melodies has shown off, is you can put a radio tuned to static through it and get hi-hats. So there's no coincidence that these two are next to each other because they work really well together. Muck Slicer. I need to focus on this little baby because I frankly have not, and all I have used it for so far is a step sequencer. Now, to be honest, analog step sequencing of any kind is one of my favorite things in the world, and this does it great. So if you're just using it for that, fantastic. But I need to spend more time with it and dedicate some patch brain to it to figure out what else it can do. To the right of that, we have my gate sequencer. Now, I have some other things that can create gates in here. The XP32 has become one of my favorite ones, but this is my workhouse gate. Workhouse. I keep on saying workhorse, and then I said workhouse. This little baby right here is my #1 gate sequencer. More than Metron, more than anything else. I've done a video on it, and the way this works is via stacking Euclidean patterns. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 channels of output. Each channel of output has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 stackable patterns. Obviously, I can mute and unmute these patterns and have only one play at a time. But really what you're supposed to do is stack them. And that's because they all use Euclidean math, meaning I say, hey, I want this channel and this pattern on this channel to have 16 steps. Actually, I can do this. There we go. 16 steps. And in that, I want 4 events. And then if I want to, I can rotate those events, burst them, ratchet them. And so 16 and 4 would be a 4 on the floor kick drum. I could then unmute pattern 2 and say for this one, go ahead and add to this one. I want 32 events, and then I want 32 length, so that's double the original pattern length. 1 event, and I'm going to rotate this all the way to the end, the last 8th note. So now we'll get dun, 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 dun. So you can stack up to 8 of these and get, complex patterns if you want. It's great. I love it. I think anyone who is looking for a gate sequencer should consider it. One thing I love about Acid Rain's modules, besides just the way they work, is every single one has a clock input and reset input, and those are molted out. So they provide you with a way to send the clock out to and reset out to things that you might need to, because even if you don't give it a reset input, it will send one out. And that means that you get a free reset input that you can use for different things, which is actually incredibly useful. To the right of that is the Blue Box. This has become my recorder and mixer. Amazing module. To be honest, I've done a video on it. It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stereo pairs in, or each one of those can be a mono pair. 6 channels of recording where you can choose between mono or stereo. It records multi-track. It will work as a audio interface, I believe. It has a built-in reverb and delay. So just incredible value multi-track recording, huge amount of I/O, well, huge amount of huge amount of in, and the ability to use effects for every channel. So you just need reverbs and delays, you send them off within this thing. I have it hooked up via a USB cable here to a FaderFox PC4. This is a small controller from FaderFox, and the way I've done it is I've created a default project in here I always load from, where we do volume on these top ones. These are our effect sends for delay for each channel, and then down here we have our effect sends for reverb. I have a little hardware mixer. You can use all kinds of different things to do what this is doing. But yeah, I love this thing. It's fantastic for what I do, and I think, while it's great for a big case, it could also be really, really good for a small case as well. Holy moly, we made it to the lowest row. We did it. Main sequencer, the Hermod Plus. I have done a video on this. Before I got the Hermod Plus, the Hermod spent a lot of time in my rack, and then I ended up switching it out for some more analog sequencing. But with the advent of the Hermod Plus, it's back as the main sequencer in my rack, and I love it. I think it's great. I've done a video on it, obviously. The XP32 to the left of that creates 8 new channels of anything you want. I did a video on it as well. It's on this channel. It's an incredible amount of addition to what the Hermod can do. Are they digital? Are they menu-y? Yes, but I think that they are well done. F8R. This is just a simple voltage offset generator that can choose between 0 and 10 outputs, 0 and 5, and -5 and 5. And I use it as a performance controller for my rack. I can take an output of that and plug it into various things, and then control them from down here. Do multiple controls if I want using a 10U version. Just a really, really, really useful thing to have in a rack when you want to reach out and perform something without touching it. To the right of that is one of the only DIY modules I have in here. It's the T12 from Dobos. It is a sequencer. It is a keyboard player. It is a arpeggiator. It's so many cool things. It's awesome. I love it. It has multiple outs there, including clock and gate and stuff like that. I think it has an envelope out as well. One of my favorite things about it, it can do vibrato. Like, you can set it up to do vibrato, so you can play a solo with it, and it will send out a vibrato on that 1 volt per octave, and you can choose how much, and if it's delayed. It's such a small thing, but my God, it's fantastic. It has a built-in custom quantizer, so you can only play the notes that you want. And it has a really fantastic real-time envelope, and it has a really fantastic real-time arpeggiator. Look how cool that is. I love that thing. I think it's super, super cool. Was not a difficult build. The hardest thing about it was getting the screen to sit where it should. So if you're into DIY and you want a really great hands-on sequencer, that's it. What can I say about the Maestro I have not already said? This is a must-have for me. I have 2 of them. I have 2 of them because I use the other one in a different rack. But what this does is it creates modulation. So if I press all the channels here and press up, and then I choose half note, all those are now sending up a half note ramp. And I can choose this one and say downward 1/4. Now you can see it's doing that. I could say, hey, you do random and do it every 16th notes. But that's not all. If I hit chain, and let's say I will do 1, I'll do a up ramp, down, doop, doop, doop. Now, it's doing that chain now. It's automation chains for your modular rack. I've done a video on this too. I can't get over how fun this is. I will come down here and just spam things, or I'll just very carefully choose what I want, send it through these attenuators next to it here, and I have an astounding modulation source for my rack that just does so much fun shit. You can see I have paired it with 3 navigators. Any bank of attenuation will work with this. When I had both Maestros in here, I was running them through these triats here. These are also fantastic. But yeah, the Maestro is just great. If you need modulation, you want it to be cool, this is your baby. The Oniroy is in here right now. I don't know why. I've done a video on this. It is astounding. This is a apocalyptic drone voice from Bifaco. It's almost impossible to describe, but I recommend that you check out my videos on it and any other videos that may exist out there. I think it is amazing, and it's fully contained. You actually don't need anything going into it to make amazing sounds. So yeah, if you are looking for drone voices that are cool, there's a friend right here. So what's not in this rack? Well, a lot, unfortunately. Despite having a, insanely fortunate space to have all this stuff in, I still have stuff that, you know, I have done videos on that isn't currently racked that I am basically saving as a emergency fund. You know, I will break some of this stuff out and use it now and then, but I have bins of this that I'm keeping in case something goes horribly wrong in my life. I'm not joking. Like, that's what it's for. Same thing for like holding on to some of the synths that I have. I might not use them all the time, but I know that I can sell one in case something really bad happens and I need the money. I have a couple external cases that I use for specific performance concepts. I will bust them out and fill them with stuff that I want to use for a specific performance, either, you know, downstairs or at another venue or something like that. You know, I can't have everything in one rack, and there is definitely value in being able to focus on a specific rack as opposed to having a gigantic thing. It's a very, very fortunate and privileged place that I find myself in with this, and I know that. But I just thought I'd be, you know, clear with y'all, you know, in case you didn't see something in here that you thought that you would. All right, well, that's it. Thank you so much for watching this. Hope this was interesting to you. It's definitely a lot of stuff. I'm very, 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 very happy that I have gotten a chance to experience so much of what you see in this rack because, one, I love making music with it, and two, I like to talk to other people about it and what can work for them. Because Modular is the most customizable version of what we have in music technology outside of software. And everybody's needs are different. And, you know, I love being able to chat with people about how to plan their case in such a way that really fits what they're trying to do. So to all the people that watch this channel and support it, thank you. It means a lot. To the companies who have worked with me and allowed me to get my hands on their gear and teach other people about it, thank you. And to everybody out there who believes in this as an art form and believes in this as something that allows us to express ourselves, thank you to you keep the fire alive in all of us. That's it for me, Jeremy. I will see you in the next video. And if you have any specific comments or questions about something you'd like to see in here, I guess leave a comment, you know? Thanks so much for watching. My name is Jeremy. This is Red Means Recording Modular, and I hope you have a wonderful day.